would like to know, this mentions religious ministries. I would like to know, I'm sure there are people of all beliefs, and you have one service probably. How do they cover everybody in one service? Like, I mean, if you're Jewish, you're of course not going to believe the same way as a Christian. If you're Muslim...
there are 3 services.
Okay.
Catholic, Protestant, and other.
Okay.
And half of us were Catholics, half of us were Protestants. You know, I can't really split it up by saying halves because you got Catholic people, Protestant people, people who just didn't go because they wanted all their free time, and you got like 1 or 2 others, which from what I got out of them, they were what do they call them? They don't believe in God at all.
Atheists?
Atheists.
They had a service for an atheist?
They tried to get you... No, they had 2 atheists, right? And they wanted to see what different religions were out there that they might want to partake in. So the other service introduces you to all kinds of different religions. It tells you about all kinds of different ones. It's basically like, gosh, you know those support groups like for alcoholic people? They basically sit you in a circle like that and you all talk about religion.
So did they convert
that's what I got.
there?
That's what I got. Not really. They stopped going in one of their free time, really.
So if you don't go to church, you just get free time.
You get 1 hour a night. I'll just go ahead and tell them this. You get 1 hour a night, and that hour can be used for anything you want. Of course, you do get little homework tasks like I want you to polish this. I want you to put this together. I want you to put this kind of belt together. I want you to clean this out. I want you to brush your teeth, because you don't really get brush your teeth time during hygiene time, which is the shower and shaving, like I told you. You really don't get time to brush your teeth, so they'll tell you brush your teeth, and they'll make sure you do it. The squad leaders go around. Change your cotton shirt to a spandex one, which is one of those little like Under Armour type shirts for PT tomorrow. Change your brown socks out for white socks so you can wear your white socks tomorrow because you're wearing tennis shoes, and get your sweats out for tomorrow. There's things like that, and you get an hour, and you get to write letters and do that kind of thing. But on Sundays you get 4 hours, which is really nice. Now church takes up 2 hours. Church is 2 hours, and the other 2 hours you'd come back and have for whatever, or you could go to basically after church Sunday school, which is like, but it's after church, and that's the other 2 hours. So if you want to lose all 4 hours, you can go to both. But I went to church because I felt that was good enough. I was going to church because I needed the other 2 hours anyway. But going back to Protestant, Catholic, and I went to Protestant church. It's just like an old Baptist church, really. You go in, you sing a bunch of songs, you get your message, and you pray and leave. Really nice facility.
They just don't take up offering.
They don't take up offering. Because they know you don't have any money.
Okay, what about this?
I did communion 3 times while I was there.
You did?
Communion 3 times.
Wow.
You have this little wafer that it's about the size of a Ritz, and you dip it in the juice, and while you're holding it there, it kind of folds over. It kind of falls over, and you're sitting there looking at it like, I really don't want to eat this, but it's really good.
So it's a little different from the way our church did it, but it still symbolizes the same thing. Can you talk about is it puggle? Or
Pugil.
Pugil. Talk
Pugil
about
sticks.
The Pugil sticks.
Giant.
Was that hard?
Yes, very.
It was.
Well, yeah, because every single one of you is aggressive. What they look like at first is the pad. Big stick, you got a pad on this end, a pad on this end, trying to make sure my hands are in the camera. And there's a big pad in the middle on a big stick. And then there's like, it looks like it has these giant boxing gloves attached. So you put your hands in those.
It looks like a giant Q-tip.
A giant Q-tip. There you go. You can probably find it on the internet real quick. And you just run at each other, and what you're trying to do is there's a red end and a black end. You're trying to get that red end and hit them in the head. For a kill blow. Because it's like you have a rifle, and that's the knife and that's the buttstock of the rifle. You're trying to get a good buttstock in or a good like slashing motion in.
That's interesting. I didn't
And
know that.
the first time you'll be in like a pit full of mulch, and it's just a big circle, and they'll say you're on offense, you're on defense, go. Once a kill blow is given, or they've been in there for 30 seconds without dying, switch. Same thing, and then they'll say, all right, free for all. First one who gives a kill blow wins. And then the second pugil sticks, you're up on bridges, these little tiny bridges, and you're trying to knock each other off.
Was that fun?
I won the first round, and then I lost the second round real bad. Because he was a real big guy. He was one of the biggest ones we had. And I just went for his legs first, and then he figured that out. So he went for my head straight off the second time, and he got me in the shoulder, and I got lost balance and fell off.
That's the problem I have with American Gladiators is
And then the third time, that
the
neither one
different
of us fell
sizes.
off. And then the third time you'll do pugil sticks is the fun one, because your opponent's at one shoot, and you're in the other shoot, and you have to run through this maze, and you'll wind up in the center, running full force at each other, but you gotta stop. Hold your pugil stick above your head, yell your weight to make sure he's got the weights right, make sure you're all the same weight or around it, because they've lined you up beforehand, and you just fight you just beat the crap out of each other until one of you until the guy inside picks one to win, you know? And that's the same guy that does martial arts, and he's in there, and that tongue moving, it's hilarious. I'm laughing the whole time I'm in
So
there.
how does he yell? I mean, can you actually yell? Like
I'd
that?
have to yell like a phrase from.
You can't yell what he yelled.
No, because he yells just weird stuff, and but I don't know. I don't know how to do it. But,
Okay. What is this?
But hold on, I got one more.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Pugil Sticks 4 is during the Crucible,
Oh.
and that's the best one. That was my favorite because I'm standing back there, and the drill instructor I hated the most is back there yelling at us, and he decides to yell at me right before I went into the arena
About what?
because I was looking around or something,
Okay.
and he said, I don't even know why he said that. He didn't even say anything about my eyes. He says, "Done, keep the lip forward." Well, of course, he made me very angry. So when I ran into the pit, I was extremely just
PO'd.
PO'd. There you go. I didn't want to say the word. You caught me on that one. Extremely PO'd. So, and you don't have to stop this time. There is no stop running once you get in there. You can collide with your opponent if you feel like it. So I went running as fast as humanly possible with my stick up in the air, and I got into the ring, and my opponent wasn't even there.
Okay.
And I had to wait for about 15 seconds for him to come walking in. So I charged him from across the arena and hit him as hard as I could right in the side of the head.
So
And knocked him flat on his butt.
that's why you liked it so much.
Yeah, because I destroyed it.
Yeah.
And then they made us take our pugil stick back to the door we came in, lay them down, and go lay down in the middle of the arena. And they'd say, go. And there's 4 of us in there. And you got to run for a pugil stick because it's all out war with all 4 of you. And you got to run to the first pugil stick you can get to. And of course, you start to fight the same guy. So it's 2 fights going on there at once, not 4 people fighting everybody. So I got my stick before he did. And he was bending down to get his stick when I walked him. And he just rolled over. He didn't even grab his stick. And I just pretended I was stepping on him, like stomping him. He said, that's what I'm talking about right there. You know you got him. I love it.
Did you ever feel like that's really cool? Like this is like Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Or this
No, I didn't think that.
No. Did you ever feel like you were
I felt energized, but actually taking a blade and doing that to somebody, I'd be kind of, I don't know, I couldn't really imagine actually doing something like that to somebody, because I know this, but it's gonna have, because they tell you, honestly, Marines will tell you, if it comes down to using that knife, you're screwed.
Well,
They said because nobody runs in a battle using that little bayonet anymore. If you don't have ammo, you best have a grenade or
did
something.
any of it remind you of the movies you like? Like what's that one, Braveheart, or did do
I
any
wish
of
no,
those?
because I wish combat could go back to swords, and bows and arrows and stuff. I really wish combat could go back to swords and axes and stuff like that, because one, it wouldn't hurt the earth. Two, you wouldn't have any kind of threats of bombings or nuclear war, and you wouldn't have any of that gas bombs. You wouldn't have to worry about getting blown up by an IED every day, because that is, for you out there, that is the number one cause of deaths in Iraq or anywhere, is IEDs, which are improvised explosive devices. Things like little dolls that they'll find a way to put two wires together and sit it on the side of the road, and some little Haji will be hiding behind a rock and wait until a caravan goes through and click, boom.
Chokeholds.
Chokeholds, you just learn how to choke your victim out. It's kind of like if the fight happened to get to fist fighting, you can figure out how to grab a hold of them, spin them around, and get a hold of their neck and choke them to death. That's what that was. There's about 2 or 3 different ones.
Why do people make such a big deal about the sand? The sand on Parris Island? Or...
It's not really anything big. What it is it's just like a big sandbox. A giant sandbox. It's probably, gosh, how big would this be?
So we're not talking about a beach?
No. You never go to the beach. Ever.
Okay.
Ever. I'd say if you gosh, how big is this thing? It depends on, I say if you park 4 Suburbans side by side.
Okay.
That's how big this sandbox is.
Okay.
Wide and long, that's exactly how big it is. It's pretty big. You can fit about 90 guys in there.
Mm-hmm.
Not very well, but you can fit about 90 guys in there. And it's just the same thing you do on the quarterdeck, push, sit up, but you're doing it in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I don't know what it is with camis and sand, but when you get sand in your camis, it annoys you to death. Because you got these like tiny little blades, and they're just rubbing up against you constantly. And when you walk around for the rest of the day with that sand all over you, it stick to you. You're sweating, so it's stuck to you all over your body, and you don't get to wash it off. It's just, that's the thing it is. All it is an annoyance for the rest of the day.
Did you ever have to go in the sand when it was wet?
Yes.
You did.
You get it all over you. Yeah. It was raining.
They talk about fleas, sand fleas.
Sand fleas.
Were there sand fleas?
Yes.
There were?
Bite you to death.
Really? Even though it was cold?
I'm trying to remember what we called them, but there's flying things, and I don't know if they're the sand fleas. Yeah, they're sand fleas. They fly.
Mm-hmm.
And they're everywhere. They're not even near the sand. They're just everywhere. They're like tiny little gnats, and there's like hundreds of them. They'll fly all around you, and they'll just land everywhere.
And that was in the winter. Think of what it's like in the summer.
I'm talking to you. It's the wind chill's below zero. It's like 15 degrees, 20 degrees outside. You're on the rifle range trying to shoot. There's 50 of them little things all over you, and you can't move because you got to get a well-aimed shot off. You're in formation. You're not allowed to move, and they're everywhere. But the bugs are just something you just got to get over.
So did you ever have any trouble in the sand?
No.
Did any of your buddies ever have any trouble?
Well, it's just you get to the point where you can't push anymore, and you got a whole platoon in there, and then it becomes a thing where, so-and-so's got their knees on the ground. So-and-so's butt's way up in the air because you keep your back straight. So-and-so's, because once you get exhausted, keeping your back straight is very, very difficult. You're screaming bloody murder so you can get up. And he sees it. He sees you trying to give up, and then he'll let you go.
So if you scream, you get to get up.
Mm-hmm. If you scream really, really, really loud, but it doesn't matter how loud you scream because they're still gonna make sure they get your PT time.
What if you've lost your breath and you can't get a good scream?
And you keep going.
Was there anybody who ever had any trouble?
Yes, yeah. She's trying to bring up somebody I told her about. If you find this, I'm not even gonna say his name, but if you find this, I still love you. You're a great buddy. He was always a good friend, but he lost all his teeth to dip. He's probably 24 years. I think
Which is awful.
He's 24 years old. He's lost all his teeth. He said he had about 10 left, and had them all pulled before he came in. He said, "I don't want them anymore. I look crappy. Give me dentures." So they gave him dentures, and when he got in, they took them from him, and never gave them back. Through the entire basic training, they never gave them back.
So he had to eat without teeth.
Yeah, he ate apples. He actually had an apple sitting there. and his gums were so hard he could just bite right into it and leave this smooth little cutout. It's so cool looking, because you can never see something that smooth come out of an apple before. You usually see like roughness from teeth. That he's just
was it gross? I mean, did you?
No, we loved watching him eat because he looked like a mule. Just because his jaw would come up to his nose and his lips would come up there, and it was fun. And he just had this huge range of motion with his jaws.
Did it make him talk funny?
No, he just had a very high pitched voice. And it was just fun talking to him because his voice was just so unique.
So you don't think his voice had nothing to do with his teeth being gone? That was just his voice?
I think it was just his voice.
So he had a high-pitched voice?
Mm-hmm.
So did he have any trouble?
You trying to get me to demonstrate it? Aye, sir! Aye, sir! Just like that. That's exactly how he said it. We're all trying to bite our lips and not laugh because he just sounds... But that's how he sounded.
So tell me about the incident again. Tell it all.
Sir, they're fixing them, sir. When he talked about his teeth. But yeah, he didn't get his teeth back until the last day, and then he smiled at all of us, and we're like, whoa, you just take them back out, man.
You were used to seeing him without them.
We had a serious gunnery sergeant. He was a real funny guy. He was like a Chappelle. If you know the Chappelle show, he was a black guy, and he just said, you're going to get out there and just be standing there on graduation day going, showing them things. He didn't even wear them at graduation. He left them in the thing. I couldn't believe that. But he's married, and he's got a son that is adorable, and he has one on the way.
He must have dipped an awful lot to lose his teeth.
Yeah. And his wife doesn't mind that he didn't have teeth one bit.
Well, that's good for her. That you would have to accept that when you married the person. Tell me about him in the sand.
What? Oh, Lord. It was me and him and like two other guys. When we got him in the, he was just pushing one day, and we're all just pushing with him, and all of a sudden he just, sir, I can't do it. And we're like, easy, shut up, keep going, easy. And he curled up to a ball, and then when the drill instructor came over to him, he goes, ah! He started screaming. He just started screaming for no reason, just curled up to a little ball and just was freaking out. And we took him. The drill instructor took off, and I think we took him to medical because we couldn't figure out what was going on. But he just stayed there, was just freaking out. And come to find out, his like arms were doing this twitching muscle failure thing, and they couldn't move anymore. It was hilarious. Yeah, we thought it was pretty funny too.
Oh, sorry.